guys, if you're a new business owner in the first 2 years of your business, I believe that challenges in business are not something new to you. And we each all have our own unique way of moving through this. And the magical part of this is we get to share with another business owner, another entrepreneur is going through similar challenges as us, the way we are going through things to expand their perspectives on new ways of approaching the more fun way, a more loving way. And sometimes we have like the self-talk, the inner critic coming up when certain challenges come up. It might look like like having difficulty creating an IG content or having crickets during your lunch. So today we are honored to have Natalie with us to share with us her way of approaching challenges in business, which is self-compassion. Let's bring her on.
As well. Accept. Are you there? Okay, I've clicked accept. Let's give Instagram a while. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Jane. So good to see you.
Yeah, it's so good to finally chat with you face to face. I mean, virtually.
I know. How cool is the internet that we can do this? You're in China, I'm in North Carolina,
I'm in
and
Singapore.
you what? Oh, you're in Singapore.
It's fine.
You're in Singapore, I'm in North Carolina. And I found your account because you were dancing. Michelle posted about a video of you dancing. And I was like, who is this person? I need to follow her. I love her energy. And so it's just really cool to connect with people like that. So
Oh,
happy
but
to
I
do
didn't
it.
know that. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad we connected because like we have so many things in common. We both love dancing. You teach dance, right?
I have taught dance, yes, but I do use dance as part of my coaching a lot. So
Mm. Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Since tell us more, like what type of coaching you do, who are you? Just introduce yourself to us.
Okay. Well, I'm Natalie, and I'm in North Carolina. And I'm a confidence coach for women. So I help women break through self-doubt and build their self-worth and their self-esteem and be able to take action from a place of confidence and empowerment and create whatever they want to create in their life, whether it's like relationships or a career or just a general feeling of amazingness.
Yeah, that's really important what we are doing, especially when it comes to business. Like there can be a lot of self-worth, the doubt of our own worth coming up. And like when we encounter this type, different challenges in business, you shared with me that self-compassion is really important. Can you share with us a bit more about what you mean by that?
Yeah. So I want to first explain what self-compassion is. Um, Self-compassion is basically just giving yourself the same compassion or love that you would give to a loved one or to a friend or a child, anyone that you would love, this like tenderness that you would extend to them, but giving it to yourself. A lot of times we're so hard on ourselves. We are judgmental, we experience shame, and the more we can be accepting and loving of ourselves, that I believe is the way to move forward and to move through challenges rather than the opposite.
Yeah, I agree. Like like in the past, before like the awareness of this self-love, self-compassion thing, sometimes I feel like the way I navigate through that is like just like pushing it away, right? Just ignoring it. But then at a later time, this surface again. It's like it's coming up for us to, like it's calling for our attention. And the moment, like you say, when we accept it as it is, and just love ourselves as we are at that moment,
Mhm.
things become different. The way we approach life or business or anything that comes in our way just feels different. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I believe your relationship with yourself is a lot like a relationship with anybody else, where you need to give the relationship that time and energy and care.
Mm,
And the more you push away any problems, the more they're just going to resurface. You have to address them, you have to acknowledge them, you have to bring love into any sort of problem that you're going through.
And what you tell me more about your journey. How do you discover self-compassion and giving that love, that tenderness to yourself? I believe all of us have this story, and I would love to hear yours today.
Yeah. So growing up, I didn't have the most stable household, and there was a lot of responsibility on me. And as I got into high school years and college years, I started to develop a lot of anxiety. And a lot of this anxiety, I realized later on, after college, was because of all this pressure I was putting on myself. Pressure to be the best, to do the best, to take care of other people, to impress people, whatever it was, to be perfect, basically. Um, and that's a lot of pressure. And if you think about like a child, would you put that amount of pressure on a child? Would you say you have to be perfect? You have to make everyone happy? You have to never make a mistake? You have to look good all the time? You would never like expect that of somebody else, but yet we do it to ourselves. And so self-compassion really helped me to ease a lot of my anxious feelings and lean into more self-acceptance, self-love, and confidence, really.
Mm. And how did it help you, like learning that through that process in your life? How did it help you when it comes to your coaching business?
So I think self-compassion is, well, self-awareness is where it starts in coaching.
Mm,
It's hard to make any changes unless if you're not aware of what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your body. And then self-compassion is next, because we're gonna realize, I want to work on this, I want to work on that, I could be better at this. And to be able to accept that that's where you are in the current moment and to give love to yourself allows you to be able to work on things through coaching. The more you judge yourself and shame yourself for experiencing X, Y, and Z, the more you're just going to get stuck in this cycle of shame. So, what we do is we have a problem, and then we judge ourselves for having a problem. Why am I having a hard time? Why is this so challenging for me? Why can't I move through this quickly? And then what that does is that makes us have more of a hard time. And then we judge ourselves. So it ends up being this like cycle that you can't break through. But if you can recognize where you are, what you want to change, be accepting of that and loving of that, then you can start to take the next step. You can start to take action from a place of self-empowerment. So it's really one of the like foundational pieces that I teach in my coaching is self-compassion. And there's a lot of different ways that you can practice self-compassion as well. Um, yeah.
mm, yeah. I definitely believe that awareness leads to change. Like the awareness actually makes you notice that something you want to work on, like you say, and then the self-compassion piece comes into play. And like I feel like that, that judgmental piece, sometimes when we judge ourselves, a lot of times it might also be because we are comparing ourselves, our own progress with someone else, right?
Yes.
And then, like, I feel like it's important to remind everyone, like, we each have our own season cycle. We are each on our own individual healing journey, right? You might not be on going on the same pace with another person. Doesn't mean you are slow, doesn't mean you are wrong. you are always at the right place at the right time. That's what I believe. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like yeah, so what you share, like I totally resonate with it.
Yeah, we do that a lot. We compare ourselves to other people. I should be making as much money as, anytime the word should comes up, like, be aware you're not practicing self-compassion. Like, stop shoulding yourself. I should be making more money. I should be further along. I should be more like her. That's all judgment and like shaming yourself. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? You know, and that's going to keep you stuck. The more you can say, that's great for her, I accept where I am, like, and it's hard, but that's why self-compassion is a practice.
Mm. Like everything else is like a muscle that's built over time, and as you keep practicing, that self-compassion, that love for yourself comes easier, right?
Absolutely. It really is the way that you talk to yourself. It's your
Mm.
self-talk. So
Yes.
previously in my life, I was really hard on myself. You need to do better. You don't make a mistake. You're not pretty enough. Like, you shouldn't wear that. All kinds of things going on in my head. And when you practice self-compassion, you're able to practice a new mindset and a new way of talking to yourself that allows you to feel more ease and to just feel more at peace and more confident and more resilient, as
Mm.
you start to transition into that more loving, accepting, compassionate, tender mindset and way of talking to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what you just share, like a lot of things, they really resonate with me. I feel like our experiences are quite similar, and I believe a lot of people who are either watching this live or watching the replay, they might experience the same thing as well. Like, having that expectations for ourselves, and then when we didn't meet the expectation, that self-talk, because we weren't, some of us weren't taught to have like a very loving self-talk growing up, and we just like, I have no actually I'm actually curious, like what make us so harsh on ourselves when it comes to self-talk, growing up. Sometimes I wonder what is it in the society or our upbringing that, like even though we are from a different culture, the inner critic can be quite harsh sometimes. So sometimes I wonder, have you ever thought of this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very common. Like, we're all harder on ourselves than we are on other people, and it's a protection mechanism.
Mm.
So we're trying to protect ourselves. I'm afraid if I don't look good enough, I will be rejected. I will be ostracized. I will lose like my tribe, like, if I make a mistake, I'll be rejected. I'll disappoint people. Um, I'll be, hurt. Like, somebody will hurt me. I don't, it's all this like instinctual fear, right? So these thoughts are coming from a place of fear. I might not be good enough, right? And it pushes you to do better, right? But it
Mm.
doesn't feel good at all.
Yeah, there's a
there's
way
a
to
there's another way to push yourself that feels a lot better and is actually a lot more successful than just shaming yourself and telling yourself to do better.
yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, there's always a way, a more loving way, a more loving approach to everything, including a relationship. And when we talk about relationships, it's also the relationships we are building with ourselves. Like, like Natalie mentioned, like how would you talk to a loved one, a child,
Right.
right? And it's you're building the relationship with the other party, your friend, your family, and then when it comes to yourself, you are also having a relationship with yourself. And a lot of us might not have that awareness, and we bring the awareness to like, and observe what kind of relationship are you having with yourself, and it truly brings into perspective of how we have been, that inner dialogue that has been going on. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm. And do you have any example in terms of like business, like specific example that can help others see how to actually apply that self-compassion when a challenge come up?
I do. I'm going to grab a charger because I don't want my phone to die, but I do have tips. Hang on.
All right. See, that's the beauty, right? We are all facing some
we're,
challenges in our
yeah,
lives. And
we're all
well,
human.
mhm.
You know, even our devices need a little love sometimes. um, so there are different ways to practice self-compassion. Um, like I mentioned, it very much is a mindset shift. So you want to pay attention to how you're talking to yourself. That takes practice and awareness, obviously. But if you're noticing that you're having a hard time, you you can simply say to yourself something that you would say to a friend or a loved one. So, I understand you're going through a hard time. I'm right here with you. It's going to be okay, right? Like, what would you say to them? Hey, like, I know this is hard for you, but you're doing great, right? So just you can tell yourself encouraging things when you're having a hard time. One part of self-compassion that's really important is acknowledging the suffering. So you want to acknowledge that you're having a hard time and not deny it. You want to say, I understand, I see you, I understand, right? We want to validate the feeling just like we would do for somebody else. So I see that you're having a hard time. It's going to be okay. I love you. So using words is a way that you can practice self-compassion. Another way that you can do that is through touch. And you can actually like just use your love language. If you know what your love language is, whether that's like acts of service or gift or physical touch, quality time, you can do that for yourself, just like it's a relationship with yourself. It is. So you can give yourself a hug. You can like, yeah, you can give yourself a nice little rub, you know, um, put your hand on your heart and say, I love you. You could, yeah. So touch is really powerful as well. Um, but again, like if you're somebody who likes, you know, acts of service or something like that, then maybe it's you take a nap. I'm going to let you take a nap, Natalie. You know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very interesting. Like you bring in like the love language in to actually like do what you love, what you enjoy, essentially, right?
Right. Or maybe
Mm.
it's, I know you love to shop, so I'm going to, you know, let you have an hour of shopping, like just to enjoy yourself. What, you know, whatever it is that makes you feel loved and cared for.
Mm. And you know, like the first one you say, like using words. You mentioned that you know, like acknowledging the feelings that's coming up, acknowledging the thoughts that's coming up, and then like really allowing it to just be, right?
Mm.
And I find that once we actually practice this with ourselves, it also improves our relationship with others as well, because we learn to accept others' feelings as they are without trying to change them, without trying to reject them, and just like being with them with all, you know, just holding the space for them and like loving them as they are when they are going through hard times. Wouldn't you say that that's the case?
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Yeah. If you are having a hard time identifying how you talk to yourself, think about how you judge other people.
Hmm.
So if you're hard on other people, like she shouldn't be wearing that, or why is she eating that? You're probably doing it to yourself too. And the more you can work on yourself and be more loving and accepting with yourself, the more you're going to be more loving and accepting with other people too. Yeah.
That's why we
Good,
say
good,
like,
good point.
yeah, that's why we say like triggers and like what we think of others are like mirrors for ourselves, like our
Yeah.
inner world. Like, and I find that a lot of people are still like very unaware of this. And once, the very first time that I heard that, triggers are mirror for my for my inner reflection of myself, I was like, what? Like, and I can see it start playing out in my inner dialogue. Okay, like I'm like, for example, in the past, I used to judge people wearing certain type of clothes in certain type of figures, body figures. And then I realized that I'm actually judging myself the same way. And that is such a powerful reflection. It's like you start blaming others, you start taking the power to change your own thoughts, right? You stop blaming something outside of yourself for something that you are experiencing and start taking control back. And it's like, okay, it's actually my thoughts, my beliefs. There's something there that I can do to change, to love, to accept, to make my human experience like more enjoyable, even like to change my whole experience of this human life.
Right. Right. Yeah. And you have to be accepting and compassionate with yourself in order to take responsibility and in order to make a change. And that's
That's
really
true.
hard. It's really hard to recognize that I'm, like I'm doing something wrong or I'm doing something hurtful. That's really, really hard to accept. It takes a lot of love. Yeah.
That's true. And it can feel vulnerable to actually like see that and own that initially. You can feel like really raw and vulnerable and like exposed. And sometimes I feel like the moment we feel vulnerable and like being honest with ourselves first and foremost, I feel like sometimes once we feel vulnerable, it's like that tendency to put up walls immediately, the defense mechanism, instead of like just allowing that honesty, that being vulnerable with ourselves to, and then opening our heart to just be, and getting used to this, bring awareness to this. Is over time, like both of us have like experienced this ourselves, is truly life changing. Like even like you start being more honest with yourself, more loving to yourself, and it just ripples out into your relationships as well, and into your conversations. You become more loving, you become more honest, you allow yourself to be more vulnerable to connect with people, on a heart level. Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a good point. Yeah. If you're avoiding yourself, if you're ignoring yourself, your needs, your struggles, your emotions, it's going to be really hard to grow from that place if you're just always shutting it out and avoiding it. So it's really important to be able to get vulnerable and feel those things that are uncomfortable, and so that you can grow.
Mm. And to like kind of like summarize or give like one tip, or as many tips as you want to give to someone who is actually like going through some really hard times or dark times, as we like to call it in business. What is the advice that you would give them?
Hmm. If somebody's going through a hard time, I would say that's okay. Everybody experiences hard times. It's part of life, and there's nothing wrong with having a hard time. That's the most important thing, is you're not wrong for having a hard time. And you are fully capable and strong and able to move through it. Also, everything's temporary.
Exactly. Like as you were just like saying that, I was like, oh, I feel like this like just feeling so loved, like just giving that to myself, allowing myself to receive that. I just feel like that sigh of relief, like hearing that I can never be wrong, like no matter what I'm going through, it can never be wrong. And yeah, everything is temporary, and
Mhm.
like everything else in your life, like we can look back at what we have experienced in our life and where we are right now. We have come so far, we have experienced so
Yeah.
much. Start seeing like the resilience we have in life, the resourcefulness, Like whatever you're going through now, you are sure you have that resourcefulness and that
Mhm.
capability, that resilience to go through whatever it is, and you'll come out stronger, getting wiser. Like in business, sometimes we say our mess is our message, right? And probably whatever challenge we are currently going through right now might be a lesson for our clients in the future because they might experience what we are experiencing now. And I think this is just really, really beautiful that we get to share with each other and support each other because we have been through what they are going through.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautifully said. Yeah, we when we're having a hard time, we're so in the moment, like we can't see past or present or I mean past or future. Like we only see like this hard time and this is how it's going to be forever. Sometimes it feels like that. But if you think about all the challenges you've experienced in your life and you've overcome all of those, right? There is going to
Mm.
be a future day where you look back on this and you say, wow, I did that. I got through that. Um, and then one thing I was thinking about when you said, yeah, the lessons you're learning, your messes become your message. Um, I thought, I was reminded, I broke my foot back in the fall. And I was thinking, like, this is so hard. This sucks. This is awful. But I thought, what am I learning from this? So that's another thing you can, I mean, that's a very strong and resilient, powerful thing to consider when you're going through a hard time is what am I gaining from this?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
what am I learning through this? Yeah, I know it's hard, but what am I gaining? How am I growing? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I always like to say everything happens for a reason. Like whether you see it or not now, you will eventually look back and say, okay, that's why it happens. So yeah, I like that. Asking yourself like what, even like considering the possibilities of what you can learn from this. It's like you're tapping into your imagination even
Mhm.
during the hard times. And it can just be, make it easier to move through those challenges. Mm,
Uh,
yeah. And
yeah,
then like I think, oh, it's already half an hour.
I know.
That's fast. Yeah. Okay, so to round this up, I have loved chatting with Natalie. She's a projector in human design, and I love hearing from her always. Like the projector just gives such like life-changing advices that we can all take away from. So I hope that all of you have take away something from Natalie today when around using self-compassion, and bring awareness to your inner dialogue when you are going through some hard times, some encountering some challenges. And so Natalie, share with us like if someone wants to work with you, want to seek support from you, like what are the ways they can do so at the current moment?
In, in the current moment, so I do have openings for one-on-one coaching. So that looks like meeting with me once a week and support in between. Those meetings for 3 or 6 months, depending on how long you want to hang out with me. And I also have a free workshop coming up on May 7th through 9th. So it is a 3-day deep dive. It's called Unleashed. And we're diving deep into who you are without the judgment, without the self doubt, and what you dream of creating when you feel this way. So it's like yourself and your dreams unleashed, and it's 3 days and I'm super excited about it. So if anyone is interested in joining that, um, actually just, or if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram and join my newsletter. Just join my newsletter. I'll be announcing this challenge. It's not even announced yet, but I'll be announcing Unleashed next week in my email community and on Instagram. So you can follow me, you can join my newsletter. And there's also an inquiry form there if you are interested in one-on-one coaching. But let's just chat. I love just talking to people and learning about who you are, what you're passionate about, and what your goals are in life, what you want to create.
Yeah, let's create more conversations even online, and start consuming less and start engaging and establishing this kind of conversation more. I feel like a lot of people, like, they are so scared of being sold to the old way of doing business, that sometimes I feel like people might sometimes be a bit reluctant to actually go into the conversations. And Natalie and I, we have been chatting on Instagram for so
Yeah.
long, and it's really a beautiful, and we start to realize a lot of common things that we like. We talk about we both have a vision of being in a forest clearing, just dancing under the moon. Yeah, so yeah, give Natalie a follow if it feels aligned. And yeah, I'm looking forward to your workshop. And yeah, hopefully the time zone works for me. I would love to attend live.
This was so cool that we could do this,
Uh-huh.
even though we're 12 hours apart. You're like, you just had your shower and you're getting ready for your day, and I'm like about to go to bed after this. But just so cool. And if you're finding this from my page, please go follow Jane. She's a wonderful business and alignment mentor. Her energy is like, your energy is just amazing, and you're so authentic, and you genuinely care about helping people find their purpose and create a business. So
Thank you. Like, I mean, we all do. That's how we found each other, right?
yeah,
Because we are truly leading from our heart, leading from love. Like, wanting to, like, from our bottom of our heart, we really want to help make someone's life so much better. And that's how we found each other and connect with each other. And I think really like to say that I'm so grateful for this, like, technology, online, Instagram, for connecting us.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful.
It is. I'm giving you a
Mm.
big hug.
I will definitely meet you one day and let's just dance under the moon.
Yes. Yes.
Alright, thank you so much for joining us today, Natalie, and for anyone watching the replay. Thank you so much for joining us until now. And just leave it in the comments any questions you have, and we'll be happy to chat. Yeah,
Yeah.
have a great evening, Natalie.
Thank you. Have a great day, Jane.
Yeah,
Thank you
same
so
to
much.
everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.